October the 23rd, 1972. It's Monday evening. Julie's screaming in the background. And with me is John Herman Adams. We're celebrating his 97th birthday. I'm going to have some questions for him. Okay, now, give me your full name.
John Herman Adams.
Okay, what was the date of your birth?
October 24, 1875.
Where were you born?
South of Bloomington.
Just south of Bloomington.
Yes.
What county is that?
Perry.
Perry County?
Perry Township.
Perry Township?
Mm-hmm.
How far did you go in school?
5th grade.
To the 5th grade? You remember the school number or name?
Handed Schoolhouse, number 7.
Do you remember what the street was?
No, it was in the country. In the country.
Was it one of those one-room schoolhouses?
Mm-hmm.
Was it? And
Yeah.
Did you went all the way through the 5th grade in the same
No,
room?
I didn't graduate.
Well, I mean, you went...
I went, yeah. Mm-hmm.
What did you do when you left school?
Worked on the farm.
With your father?
Father and uncle.
What kind of work did you do when you were a young man?
I learned to cut stone.
You were a stonemason.
Stone cutter.
You know, Dad used to tell me that you had cut, what, some figure on stone or something?
No, that's hand done. I will operate a machine.
Well, didn't you do something with stone that was put on one of the buildings in Washington, D.C.?
Oh, I don't know about Washington, D.C. I can take you down to Indianapolis and show you a lot of buildings that I helped cut the stone on.
Is that right?
Yeah. And you know where the dental school is. I helped cut all of that from the foundation to the top.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, you also did carpentry work, didn't you?
Some.
You retired as a carpenter, didn't you?
No, I never retired at all. I had to leave the shop to take care of the dory girl.
Okay. Do you remember what your grandfather's name was?
Herman Moses Adams.
And what did he do?
He's a school teacher.
Was a school teacher? Did he do any preaching?
Yes. Yeah, he was a preacher too.
Was he the one that was the circuit rider?
Well, now I don't know whether he was a circuit rider or not. My father was.
Your father was?
Yeah.
Was either one of them an evangelist?
Yeah, not unless it was Grandpa Adams.
How old did he get to be?
92, I think it was.
Adams family...
And my uncle lived to be 92, and my father told me he was 92 before he passed away.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember where your grandfather came from?
Indiana. No, I can't answer that, Don, for I don't know whether it was Indiana or Kentucky. But he lived in Clark County in Indiana.
And what was your father's name?
Henry Washington.
And how old did you say he was 92 when he died? Or maybe older?
He told me when I was setting up with him one night that he's 92 years old.
Do you know what he died of?
Old age.
Just old age. Do you remember any illnesses back in the Adams family that took anybody?
Ask that question again.
Well, do you remember anything like cancer or heart trouble?
Oh, no.
What kind of work did your father do?
Farmer and preach.
Did he preach? What faith? Methodist?
Methodist.
Was he stationed, or did he have a church around Bloomington, or?
No, not around Bloomington. He had one at Old Liddick, one at Smithville, and Mount Apple. He was at Smithville 17 years, and his Mount Apple, I know him in the 20s.
Did you have any brothers and sisters?
Yeah.
Who were they and how many?
Well, let's see, there was Mary Ann, Easter, and Cassie, and Betty. That's all the girls I can remember. And there was Will, Solid, and Henry. That's my father.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
How many children did you have?
Myself?
Yeah.
6.
Okay. Do you want to name those?
You mean my children?
Yes.
George Henry?
Okay, now he's the one that died.
Yeah, when he was like 3 days or 9 months old.
Now, is he buried next to Dory?
Yes. Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm. And then Raymond, Carl Raymond, and Henry and William Holland, Herman Edward, Mildred Catherine, Lloyd Robert.
You know, I don't think I ever knew Catherine's middle name. Yeah. Right, but I don't think I ever heard it called. I never heard Bob called Lloyd, I don't believe.
Lloyd,
That was
Robert,
his first name.
Robert Lloyd.
Huh. Now, I don't think that I've ever heard where my dad was born. Was it here in Indianapolis or in Bloomington?
Bloomington.
Was it? Was it in the home or in the hospital?
Yeah, at home.
At home?
Mhm.
Now, can you remember anything about Dora's parents, her mom and dad?
Well, I can't give you any history of either of them. He come from North Carolina, and she come from Ohio. That's just about all I can tell you about them.
Okay, what were their former names?
George Harrison Gilley was his name.
George Harrison Gilley?
Yeah, and my mother-in-law's name was Mary Catherine.
What was her name before she was married?
Watkins.
I seem to be getting some kind of buzz over here. I hope it doesn't hurt the recording.
Maybe not.
And did Dora have any brothers or sisters?
One brother, 2 sisters.
What were their names?
The oldest sister was Effie and Nanny, and I don't know whether they had a middle name or not. Effie passed away when she was young, and Nanny married a man by the name of George, I never seen him but 3 times. McIntyre, George McIntyre.
You know, I was told that somebody, maybe it was in the family, maybe it wasn't, but I was told somebody came over from Zanesville a long time ago.
Well, that was where my mother-in-law come from in Ohio.
And that she had settled in Zanesville, and she came that way with Colonel Ebenezer Zane,
I don't know
who
about
is
that.
Somewhat of a figure in history, is recorded by the author Zane Grey.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know anything about that?
No, I don't know. Her brother, only one brother, and sisters located in. Now I told you what that university is in Kansas, Independent, Kansas.
Uh-huh.
They lived in Kansas.
Uh-huh.
I only seen one of her sisters from there, and Uncle Josie. I remember him, but I never seen the sister but one time.
Uh-huh. Do you remember what kind of work Dora's dad did?
He's a lumber stacker at Fullwaters.
And that was where, in Bloomington?
Yeah.
Is that where you met her?
Yes.
Was she a neighbor? Or
No.
she was a neighbor?
I was raised in the country. I got acquainted with her one Sunday evening in the afternoon, and they told us they was going to church, and another boy and I, we said, well, we'll go too. And we went to church, and I didn't know nor enough to know which one of the girls she was, for there's 2 of them dressed just alike.
Oh.
And he and I stood at the door till they come out. And he says, there they go, Herman, there they go. And we started to follow him, and we got out of the church, about maybe 100 yards or something like it. And he says, that's them, we walked caught up with him. He says, that's them right in front of him. I says, which one's door? He says, the one on that side. And I was just that quick, I was running up by her and asked if I could walk home with her. And she said, yes, sir.
Well, how long after that was it before you got married?
Oh, a year.
A year?
Yeah. I asked her if it would be all right for me to see her next Sunday night. And she said, yes, sir. From then on, we was chums.
How old were you when you got married? Can you remember?
Yeah, I think you can. I was 25 in October and was married in March.
Really?
Yeah.
I can remember when you had your 50th wedding anniversary.
Yeah.
You lived on Lambert Street.
Yeah.
So you must have had nearly, 60-some years together.
No, we had almost 64 together, Donna.
Yeah.
If she'd have lived till March, she passed away in January. If she'd have lived till March, been 64 years.
And she passed away in January of what year?
65.
65.
January the 16th day on Saturday afternoon.
Yeah. Can you remember anything about Malin Willoughby, my mother's dad?
Not very much. Only I know he was a railroad man, and he worked in the repair shop.
And he was from Kentucky, wasn't he?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
You know, I also don't know where my mother was born.
I don't either.
I've sometimes thought maybe it was Kentucky and they moved up, but then again, I'm not sure.
I would suggest that it was in Indiana.
You think it may have been somewhere else?
Yeah, I think it was Indiana. No, I might be wrong. I'm just guessing at that.
Yeah, I really don't know. I know I've had to fill out some forms before and get information.
She went to school to 46, and she went home to dinner, and she knew there was something wrong with her mother. And at 2 o'clock, they come and got her and told her mother had passed away.
Uh-huh. How old a girl was she, do you remember?
Mm-mm.
I know my mom had a very bad childhood. I guess she wasn't very well received at home by her stepmother.
That could be that way, yes.
Although I think Malin was a religious man, he was a hard, stern man.
Mm-hmm. No, her mother was holiness.
Was she?
Mm-hmm. Holiness preacher preached her funeral.
Uh-huh. Oh, man.
Now, has that been satisfactory?
Yeah, for a long time I've had a lot of these questions I wanted to ask you, and I always put off asking you because there's an awful lot about both sides of the family, the Willoughby and the Adams family, I don't know anything about.
Well, I can't tell you much about the Willoughbys.
Can you think of anything else I might want to know about the Adams family?
Do what?
Is there anything else about the Adams family I should know? Any black sheep?
Yes, there's black sheep all the way along. Well, I had one brother who was black sheep.
Oh, was he a scandal, huh?
No, he was. He was a pretty bad boy. Yes, he was.
Well, what did he do? What was bad in those days?
Lots of things, Tom. Lots of things. Now, he and I worked together in February 1900, and it was a cold morning. It must have been around 0, and we was in the woods at work. And the spice brush was hitting us in the face just awful, and I was swearing something awful. And he stopped, and he said, put up both hands like that, and he said, whoa. He said, let's pray. And God took swearing from me just like snapping your finger. And I knew it right then. And I have never swore a countable oath since.
Do you remember how old you were then?
25.
25?
Maybe
it was Dora that scared you.
It was in February before we were married in March.
Oh, that's remarkable. Have you ever felt a call to the ministry?
Yes, sir. I was called in 1914.
What kept you from going that way?
In education.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
What was required? Grade school or?
Yeah, college. 4 years college.
Oh, back even that far back, they required college.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know, there's a lot of colored ministers on the street today in Indianapolis that haven't any.
Oh, yeah.
They got a shingle and that's all.
I know it. They just get licensed some way, and I don't know how they get them.
Yeah,
They let on like they're minister.
yeah, and that's the truth. Well, before we close, my daughter wanted to say a word. Come here.
Okay.
Tell them how old you are.
4.
4. Hold up, 4
Okay.
fingers.
Now tell them what your name is. No, you've got to say how old. Okay, you want to hold it? Okay, well don't scratch on it this time. Tell them your name.
Julie.
Julie what?
Julie, how much?
Suzanne?
You got a middle name?
No, you got to talk enough.
Suzanne.
What?
I didn't hear.
Suzanne.
Suzanne. No, I've got a sister, Anna Elena.
Huh. This is Grandpa's 97th birthday, isn't it?
In the morning.
In the morning.
And Donald's 40th in the morning.
What do you think of that? Are you going to talk in the machine or not?
What did you say to both of them? I don't know.
Can you say happy birthday to both of them?
Happy birthday.
Thank you. And goodbye.
Goodbye.